Mark Bowles. I'm from, actually right now, Sacramento. Grew up in the Bay Area in a town called Orinda, which is about 20 minutes from San Francisco. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. There was 4 boys, brothers, and my dad. My mom was an illustrator for magazines or newspapers until she had kids, but she always worked on ceramics or painting. So there was always artwork in the house going on. Materials, anytime we wanted materials, she would buy them for us so we could always paint or draw. I also grew up with parents that would go to art openings, and that they saw joy in and they seeked it out, and I used to go with them all the time. And as I got older and could drive, the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art was only 20 minutes away. So on a given day, you would go there just to see what they changed, what's new in the museum, or what show has been put on. So I've seen most shows from the 70s and 80s that have ever been in San Francisco. So growing up in the Bay Area gave a lot of advantages as far as some of the best artwork in the world got shown in San Francisco Museum of Modern Art and the galleries that surrounded it and the galleries in the Bay Area. There's a lot of artists. And there was one college there that was the California College of Arts and Crafts. It was a private art school that had a great reputation. And that's the school that I attended after I got out of high school. I did that, and I was accepted into UC Berkeley grad school. And when I was accepted into Berkeley grad school, Arts and Crafts offered me the full scholarship. I was going to college, working on my master's, and my brother died. And a year and a half later, my father died. So with that, my mom was the housewife. She wasn't gainfully employed. So I quit, worked at a restaurant, fed the family while she was getting her career going. And then I just started painting from that on, never went back. I never considered doing anything else besides painting. And I think by the age of 20, 22, going to college, I knew it was going to be a tough road. I think being an artist, there's plenty of struggle and plenty of doubt. All those things that you can look back and go, gosh, I should have done this, really, they change your path. So I think the path that I'm on is the right one for me. My path, my journey in painting, to really find my voice has been a lifetime of working on it. I've gone through different phases and have shown those work, have made a living off those work, but now I feel like I really have found my voice. Well, in the last 7 years, I think I've been mainly focused on the landscape. Even coming to Telluride and looking at the view is something you couldn't replicate if you had to. And I think the way I look at my paintings as a way to connect one person to another, or what can be gained out of my painting, is the experience that you have had in the landscape that you might relate to when you see one of my paintings, and you can see some glimmer of something or an experience that you've had. So they're all really from memories. They're not from photographs or sketches. They just start painting. The landscapes and the atmosphere and time, the element of time, is kind of what I'm looking at now as far as the study goes. But when I start painting, the painting really dictates where I go. It's that conversation I have with the canvas. And it's just how the day progresses, or days progress. The 50 years of painting have been, through my eyes, incredibly important as growth goes. So my paintings that I did 50 years ago don't look anything like they do now. So each painting you do, you learn something. It's all about learning, relearning, trying something new. And so as you progress through different canvases, it can be a subtle change or a dramatic change. A favorite painting that people like of mine is called Gate to Heaven. And the first one I did was 2007. And I was getting ready for a show, and I didn't feel there was any continuity in the work for a show. And so in my studio one night, having a lot of Chablis, or no, it was a Cabernet, having a lot of wine, I threw paint at the canvas, threw the brush at it because I was very frustrated. Well, then the next day, looking at it, it actually made an interesting mark. So what I've learned is to take outside influences and see if they can help, or take the most awkward color combination you can and put them next to each other and see what happens. So I'm always experimenting that way. If I get into a corner of a painting where I don't feel it's working, or any part of the painting, but I mean, I get backed into a corner, I usually will try to do something completely opposite that I would have done to resolve that issue earlier in the painting. So I've had a lot of people collect my work over the years, of course, and I have a lot of people come back for more and more work, which is tremendously flattering. Some of my collectors, the most important to me, would probably be the museums. I'm in 5 museums now, and the way I look at art through my education, to me that's the highest level that you can do. Well, I got a text once from John Mayer, the musician. I got a text, and it was actually in the spam folder. And so I was going through it and had his phone number, and so I tried to figure out how to get a hold of John Mayer. And so I called 8 musician agents in Hollywood and finally hit one. So it was probably the next day, the phone rang, and it was John Mayer. And he was on a tour bus on the way into Sacramento. He liked my work. He related it to how he travels so much and it's desolate and open, and he looks out the windows at night whereas he's traveling and he just sees isolation. And that's what he likes to see. He doesn't like to see bunches of people and things like that. So we connected on the part of life of where you want to be alone and be in solitude and look at nice things. Do I ever feel I've made it? No. I'm really happy with the success I have. I don't think making it is really the definition when it comes to art. It's if you're being fulfilled by it and you're still learning and you're still changing and making new stuff, that's what's important. I think the biggest lesson really has to do with perseverance. Because if you really want something and you try as hard as you can to get it, I think it will come true. So the phrase is, be careful what you ask for because you might get it. So I got what I was asking for, and I'm very happy with it. It's not simple, it's not as easy as I thought, but nothing is. So I'm very happy with where I find myself now.